Hey, good evening and welcome to episode 19 of the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Gay, joined by Zach Cloud and Weston Bailey. Thank you so much for joining us. So, wasn't particularly the greatest week in Ouachita athletics. A lot of great teams were performing, but just came up short in various different events. So we'll get it started with what happened on Thursday. So it was Battle of the Ravine for basketball, not at home, but it was at the Duke Wells Center at Henderson State, and OSDN did a very special radio broadcast. We live streamed it on YouTube, but we didn't have the video rights. That's all Henderson, so we just did an audio only broadcast, and that was a lot of fun. But so no highlights, unfortunately, from that game, but we will go into what happened. So Brinley Huggins, the last time that Ouachita and Henderson played was, I think, January 25th, and it was a heck of a game. Everybody got a treat out of it, but Ouachita came up short because Jada Pickens on the readies had her career night, hit the game-winning shot off a steal in the layup fast break, and then we missed the last-second buzzer-beating three that would have, I think, sent us to overtime. Or, no, it would have won the game, I think. But sort of a similar situation happened again on Thursday. Henderson State won on a buzzer-beater, even more dramatic than that previous buzzer-beating game, if you even want to call it a buzzer-beater. She left like 5 seconds on the clock. I don't know if do you still call that a buzzer-beater?
I just call it like a game winner, kind of, I guess. But
yeah.
Pretty much the same thing.
Well, that's what Brinley Huggins did. She hit. It was a great play. It just shows that Henderson has a bunch of players that can hit a game-winning shot at any given time. But she got it on the right wing, pump faked for the three. Defender flies by, one dribble, pull-up, jumper, cash. And only 0.9 seconds were left on the clock at that point. Ouachita had no timeouts, had to chunk up something, and, not even close. So Ouachita would lose 76-78 at Henderson State on Thursday. And I do have to say, our atmosphere for that game, a lot better than theirs. And I don't know if that's just – I don't know why, because it seemed like they had more of a showing at Bill Vining Arena when they came as far as their fans than they did at their home court, even though their pep band was there and they were – right behind us, really loud, but really good, but really loud. But anyway, so this is second straight loss to Henderson State this season. So they swept us for women's basketball, and both of these games were lost on a last-second shot. But looking at the stats, Ouachita still played well. We still had a lot of players that contributed really well, and one player in particular, she didn't have her best game, only 10 points, but Lainey Mears became, I think, the 13th or 14th member of Ouachita women's basketball 1,000-point club. Again, only 13, 14 other players, I guess just 13 other players, have accomplished this feat. And she's done so in 3 years, and not even a full 3 years. Her junior season is not over yet, and she's in the 1,000-point club. It's just an incredible feat. But, Zach, I'll let you take it away. But Ouachita, despite the outside shooting not falling, free throws not the greatest, still played pretty well.
Yeah. Joey Babel, she had 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and a block. So she did what she always does, making her impact throughout all the different areas in the game. Grayson Fairless, she had a double-double. She had 12 points, 10 rebounds, and she had 3 assists to go along with that. And then Madeline Tipton, she had 12 points, 3 rebounds. Abby Harrison had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and a block. And she also didn't miss a shot on the night. Lainey Mears had 10 points, and like we said earlier, congratulations becoming member of the 1,000-point club. That's a crazy honor.
Yep.
And Grayson Williams, 9 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal. So we definitely got lots of production from all our girls, and we scored 76 points. We just, like Chris said earlier, came up short at the very end, but still played a pretty good game.
Well, 50 of those 76 points came in the paint, and that's where coaches love to see that work.
Efficient
especially
scoring.
since you're shooting 23% from three.
Right.
You got to find your points somewhere, and they found it there. Now, Ouachita men's basketball, they did come up with a win versus Henderson State. And like what Henderson did against our women's squad, we would sweep their men's squad on the season. And this was very important of a win because Henderson was sitting at number 11 in the conference. We're sitting at number 12. And as of this game, and since Saturday's game, conference standings have changed. But at that moment in time, we sort of overtook them in the conference standings. I think they still had a better overall record than we did, even though our conference records were tied at, I think, 7 and 10. But if, let's say, we were competing for the last spot in the tournament, I think we would have the upper hand over them because we beat them both times that we saw them this season. But Ouachita would win 92-87 on Henderson's court. And, again, not a true road game, but
it counts.
We count it.
Yeah, I called it a sort of kind of road game. But regardless, the first road win for Ouachita in the season. I guess better late than never. But this is also the first sweep against the Reddies since, I think, the 2016 season for the men's basketball team. Women have had a lot more success against the Reddies. The men, their success has come this season, which is incredible because for the most part they've struggled. But now we'll walk you through this. So Ouachita, frankly, I'm going to be honest, and I think a lot of people would probably admit this too, Ouachita should have lost that game. Not because we were playing poorly. We were not. We were playing very well. But so late game situation, it's 79-77, and Henderson's got the ball. They're the ones with 79. They're up 2. We're just trying to intentionally foul. I think there's only 20 seconds left. We're trying to intentionally foul. So that's what you do. They go to the free throw line. Hope they miss some, or maybe they make it. You go down, get a quick basket, do the same thing over again, or try to get a turnover. Well, we foul one of their players that, and I won't say his name. I'm not going to single anybody out, but I will say this: Taryn Williams was forced to foul one of their players who had been shooting really well from the free throw line all night long. But Williams, if he couldn't exactly just tap him like that. That's sometimes all you have to do to get that foul. The guy was going right by him. And the only way he could really even get a hand on him is if he kind of wrapped his arms around his waist. In that moment, in those situations, you can foul kind of hard, and it's okay because they know they're just trying to sell the foul. Well, he does that, and the Henderson player did not like that at all. So, and they called the foul. But the Henderson player took the ball and threw it right at Taryn. And now, obviously, our guys are very disciplined because we reacted, but it was everybody looking at the ref going, shouldn't there be a tech? Tyler Haynes was right there, and it was just, and that's exactly what happened. He got teed up. It sends our best free throw shooter, Emery Knox, to the free throw line. He ties it at 79. Now, their player does go and hits both his free throws because he was fouled, and it makes it 81-79. Now, the score didn't really change that much, but if he had not done that, they probably would have been up 3 or 4.
Yeah, it would have been a 2-possession game.
Exactly. And I think we would not have won that game because, we were shooting 36% from 3, but we weren't getting a lot of great looks from 3. So, and then we go, Emery Knox gets fouled again. He knocks down his free throws. We go to overtime, and we end up winning.
Wow.
I think that technical cost them the game and possibly there any chance of making it to the postseason. Who knows? Only, I guess, the next couple weeks will be able to tell you that. Mm-hmm. But regardless, it cost them that game. But, Weston, go ahead and talk about some of the stuff that we did do well outside of taking advantage of the opportunities that were presented to us.
Well, like you said, we actually shot really well. I mean, 47.5% from the field isn't the most impressive number, but 36.7% from three will definitely get the job done. 85% from the free throw line will definitely get the job done. 30 points in the paint. We had 24 points off of turnovers, 14 second chance points, which probably is what made the difference in this game. And it was a really tight rebounding battle. We out-rebounded Henderson, but only 35-32. So I think you can credit that to our offensive rebounds, which we had 3 more than them. MJ Leslie had 27 points. It was a career high. Shot 8 for 11 from the field and 4 from 7 from 3. Tyler Haynes, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. Shot 7 of 10 from the field. Emery Knox actually had a phenomenal game at 15 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, just all over the court. And Taryn Williams had 12 points, 6 boards, 1 steal, and 1 block. And to finish off the stat line, Reggie Martin had 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals, and went 4 from 7 from the field.
Yep, so still pretty good games from everybody. And MJ Leslie, Coach Nutt said that his performance was a quiet career-high performance. It's because he did most of – he shot really well. He only missed 3 shots, but he did most of his work from the free throw line. Now, Ouachita softball didn't have the best weekend. They went 0-3 over the weekend and still searching for really just the second win of the season. But they were in the Raising Cane's Softball Festival in Oklahoma, and, again, they lost – 3 of their games. They're supposed to play a 4th, but their Rogers State game on Saturday was canceled. But they lost 4-9 to Nebraska. I always say it wrong. Kearney is apparent. I always said it Kearney. But Nebraska Kearney on Friday. Caitlin Province had a pretty solid game. She had a hit, 1 run, 2 walks. Aaron Williams had 1 run, 2 hits, and a walk. Bailey King had a run and a walk. Remington Adams had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and Olivia C. had a run and a walk. And then on Saturday, after what we should have been playing in the Rogers State game, we faced Missouri Southern State and lost 3-6. And that was Caitlin Province had 2 runs, 1 hit, and a walk. Remington Adams had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a walk. And Emma Scales had 1 run, 2 hits, 1 RBI, and 1 walk. And I totally forgot to mention the first game on Friday was against Washburn, where we would lose 0-9. Now, on Friday and Saturday, you guys had a series against your first conference series against Northwestern Oklahoma State, and you guys would get the win the first game on Friday, but would fall the next 2 games. Just talk to us about kind of how everything transpired.
It definitely did not go how we expected it to. I mean, obviously, we went up there expecting to win the series. That's our mindset going into every weekend. I think we just got outplayed. It was kind of you get home and you look in the mirror and you go, well, we just got outplayed. We never made the big hit. We left a lot of runners on base. We never got the big strikeout. And they did. They played really well. They honestly played way better than I thought they were. They have a lot of talent on their team. But I think we just kept beating ourselves, honestly. We know we're better than how we played. A lot of the guys that we're relying on to do phenomenal things just are slumping a little bit right now. But I'll tell you what we are excited for, and that's this 8-game home stretch here at Rab Rogers. Yeah. And some beautiful weather at home. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And so I think we're really about to turn it around. Credit to Nwosu. They played a heck of a series. Hope to see him again towards the end of the season with a little more on the line. But we're kind of flushing it and looking towards Nwosu this weekend.
Well, I think they only had maybe 2 or 3 losses after facing you guys, so they're probably a team that you will see later on and maybe even in a postseason run. Who knows? Now, also on Saturday, men's tennis defeated Midwestern State 6-1, and Ouachita, at least as of this game and heading into their next game, they were ranked number 23 in the country. They won 2 of their 3 double matches and 5 of their 6 singles matches. Now, women's tennis would also play on Saturday. Now, they at this time were still on the road in Tyler, Texas against UT Tyler, where they would lose 2-5. Now, they would win 2 of their doubles matches, but they did not find much success in their singles matches, winning only 1 of their 6. I think if they just won a couple more, maybe they cut into that lead. Now, women's basketball, they played again on Saturday, and it was the Women's Basketball Alumni Night. And we got to hear some interviews from some, and got to see and recognize some great figures in women's basketball history. And they also, right outside the front doors to get into the arena, they unveiled part of that wall is now all women's basketball, like Tiger women's basketball. And so they have like classic jerseys from when they used to be called the Tigerettes, and some other memorabilia, newspaper clippings and stuff, just a lot of history right next to the Bill Vining wall, and Bill Vining, all-time winningest coach in men's basketball history for Ouachita, and he's got his own wall and also represents men's basketball. So 2 great pieces of history right there. But so Ouachita women's basketball, sucks that they lost on such an important night, but they would lose by just 3. So it was a treat. It was definitely a treat there at Bill Vining Arena. But for the most part, Ouachita did not shoot well, but Ouachita was in another late game situation where Arkansas, they had Arkansas Tech within 3. Arkansas Tech been playing almost flawlessly all night long, even without some of their best players who had fouled out, and their best players been hurt for a while. So we have an inbound pass to Madeline Tipton, who was one of the heroes in the Henderson game that allowed us to be within, who tied us up before Huggins hit her game winner. And so the ball goes into Tipton's hands, and then immediately she's trapped in kind of that corner of like the sideline and the half court line. So there is nowhere she can go. Nobody's open. It was a brilliant defensive play call by their coaching staff. Turnover, game's over. Another unfortunate close loss. But we'll let one of you guys go into it. Again, not the prettiest game, but we still had them within 3.
Yeah, I mean, you said it wasn't the prettiest game. I won't really harp on these, shooting percentages. They just weren't great. Not what we're used to. But a lot of our individual stats still looked really good. I mean, Madeline Tipton had 16 points, 2 assists, a steal. Grayson Fairless had 14 and 8, shot 50% from the field. Lainey Mears, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Joey Babel, 8 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 steals. Samantha Watson had 2 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals. Man, I'll tell you what, I don't get a vote at the end of the season, but if I was voting today on who team MVP was at the end of the season, I think Joey might get my vote.
She sniffed a triple-double on this game.
Yeah, she was.
I mean,
that's such a
are you talking about if she makes one more shot, she's got a double-double.
Are you kidding
she's
me?
Got 7 steals with that.
Steals
she led the team in rebounds in this game. I mean, come on, man.
And she's, I think, 5'4", the shortest player on the court pretty much at any given time.
I mean, and she's not – I mean, she showed she can get up there in points, right? She's not going to be your 25, 30-point, scorer every night. Not saying she can't, get to that point. But, I mean, she just makes an impact in every phase of the game. And, I mean, you definitely do not want to be the one who she's guarding because good luck.
Well, and I think she's team MVP because there's nothing that she doesn't do wrong. And – she's pretty much become the team's starting point guard, which is kind of incredible because she technically is, if they even have this award, but if I was giving out the most improved player award like they do in the NBA,
for sure,
it would be Joey Babel because she played like maybe 20-something games as a freshman.
Not a whole lot, though.
No, she probably averaged like 5-6 minutes a game, maybe 2 points per game. Like she could hit mid-range shot and was aggressive on defense, but there was no 11 rebound games. I mean, none of this was so this was really unexpected, and it's good. It's a good thing that she stepped up, after Michaela Miller left and is now at LaSalle in Pennsylvania, and she's been balling, a D1 college, of course. But she stepped it up, and Coach Dallamore's got his point guard of the future. And then, of course, Samantha Watson. She didn't do a lot in the scoring category, but she played some good defense with 3 steals of her own. That's another really good point guard that he'll have in the future. Now, men's basketball, they would also lose to Arkansas Tech. Now, Arkansas Tech came into that arena, and a lot of people were like, yeah, they're one of the best teams in the conference, and one of, as in number 2. They're the second best team in the conference behind Southeastern Oklahoma State. We'll talk about them in a second, actually. But they had a phenomenal game. Ouachita would lose 56-72. Zach, just looking at that game, it kind of sounds like we really just did not get on the boards. I mean, we allowed 14 offensive rebounds, and they have size, but we've put up better performances when we have the size disadvantage.
Yeah, we didn't have much of an inside presence because not only in rebounds, we only had 22 points in the paint compared to their 36 points in the paint. So that's also a really big difference. But Terran Williams, he led us in scoring like he usually does. He had 14 points and 4 rebounds. Reggie Martin had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Emery Knox had 10 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals. And then Roland Belton, he had 9 points, 4 rebounds, a steal, and a block. Gavin Snyder, he had 4 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And Tyler Haynes, he only had 6 points and 4 rebounds. So that was a lot. Coming from just Tyler specifically, that was less production than what we're used to seeing. Because like we said in the game before, whenever we played Henderson, he had – like 19 points, and he almost had a double-double, and so that fell off. And then we missed from MJ Leslie. He had a career-high 27 the game before, and so he fell back down to earth this game, so we really missed some production from him.
3 points, so that again, but it's because he's a shooter. That's his role, is to shoot the ball from 3.
Sometimes you're on, sometimes you're not.
Exactly, and the whole team was off because we were shooting 25%. We shot well from the free throw line, but, I mean, still. Now, women's tennis would play again on Sunday, where they would play against Texas A&M Kingsville in a neutral site matchup. I think it was in Plano, Texas. And they would lose 2-5. And Ouachita would win 1 of 3 doubles matches, but they would only win 2 of 6 singles matches. Men's tennis, they lost their first game of the season in a top 25 matchup against number 24 Mississippi College. Obviously, that's a phenomenal matchup, and I hope we don't drop too far. I hope we stay in the top 25. I think we will. We only lost 3-4, but it was on our home court, so that's definitely unfortunate. We would only win 1 of 3 doubles matches, and we would win 3 of 6 singles matches. Maybe 1 double and 1 single win. Maybe we get a win, or maybe we get a win overall. Now let's go into the Tiger Prowl preview. So Ouachita Swim and Dive, they will be competing in the NSISC Championships in Cleveland, Mississippi from Tuesday through Saturday. So it's a long thing, and I don't know if it's like they'll be competing every single day. It could be where they get, like, if the possibility of them getting knocked out come Thursday, and they'll be back home. I don't know. I don't know how it's formatted, but regardless, really hoping that we have some performers just show out. I don't know if it's – I think the whole team goes, and I don't know if a team competes against other teams. Again, don't know the format, but next week we'll tell you all about it. Now, on Tuesday again, Ouachita will face Williams Baptist at home, and it's going to be a doubleheader at 2 and 4 p.m. And again, this is OBU softball, and by the time that they play, this episode will already be out, so we'll talk about it next week. Ouachita basketball, they'll play again. This time they're going to be on a road trip. They're going to be taking a road trip to Oklahoma, where they'll be playing Southeastern Oklahoma State in Durant on Thursday at 5:30 and 7:30. Now, Southeastern, best team in the conference. I mean, as far as the conference goes, you have Southeastern, and then you have Arkansas Tech, and then everybody else is kind of like, okay. You have the great teams, and then you have a couple good teams, and then everybody else is kind of like on the same level. And we're on the same level with like 8 different teams. That's why even at last place in the conference, we still technically could make it into the tournament. And not even just like the 8th spot, like the 6th spot if we really had a shot. But So hopefully Ouachita could pull off the upset. And then for the women's basketball, they're still a pretty solid team as well. So we're hoping we desperately need a win for them. Now, baseball, you guys will be hosting your second. Actually, it's going to be the first home conference game of the season on Friday and Saturday. And it'll be the second overall conference meeting. It'll be noon and 3 p.m. on Friday, noon on Saturday. How do y'all feel about that?
Oh, I'm so excited. From being injured and redshirted last year due to an injury, I never got to be a part of, a home game day. This is actually not only our first home conference series, but our first home game period this season. So we're all stoked to finally be back home for, 2.5 weeks. And, man, just ready to play some ball in some nice weather.
Well, if you get in, throw a no-hitter.
That's right. It's always the goal.
Going to need that. Now, Ouachita softball, they will be playing Southwestern Oklahoma State as well, but they will be in Weatherford, Oklahoma. It'll be their first conference game of the season from Friday through Saturday, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Friday, and then noon on Saturday. And, they're sitting at 1-8, I think, so far in the season. They got to make some noise in conference play. That's part of what non-conference is for. Get some early wins, get your confidence going, help your record. Now it's conference season, got to lock in. Ouachita men's tennis will go to Tyler, Texas to face UT Tyler on Saturday for their first away match. And, of course, women just came back from Tyler, Texas. So hopefully they'll get some revenge because Tyler did beat Ouachita women's tennis. So I would hope some revenge. Now basketball, still in Oklahoma on Saturday. They will be playing East Central in Ada, Oklahoma, and it is the Battle of the Tigers, the only two teams in the conference that have the Tiger mascots. Every once in a while we'll have a game against another team that we try to make it into a little bit of a rivalry. Obviously, we have Battle of the Ravine, and then Harding is just a natural rivalry. It's also we're the only two schools in the state that are religiously based schools. So it has a couple nicknames out of that rivalry. And then battle of the OBUs between us and Oklahoma Baptist, except I always say that Oklahoma Baptist is just the OK OBU because their initials are really OKBU. So anyway, so Battle of the Tigers. And it will be Saturday at 1 and 3 p.m. Men's tennis, they will be playing St. Mary's in Tyler, Texas. So they're going to be playing both UT Tyler and St. Mary's. But this time it'll be on Sunday. And then women's tennis host Angelo State on Sunday at 1 p.m. And for those away tennis matches, it's not that I'm neglecting to say the times. It's just we don't know the times. We don't know until that actually happens. So anyway. So it'll be kind of a busy week in Ouachita athletics, and I hope it's a better week. And, we'll get to see what happens. But, I'm just thinking about, I don't know if y'all watched any of this, but this past weekend was the NBA All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting moments came from that. And I'm thinking about it from the broadcast side because okay, so first of all, All-Star Weekend's not what it used to be. It's
even
not.
Close. It's a joke. I'll just say it. It's a joke.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up right quick. But so they went back to the old style of like the All-Star format was East versus West. It had been they would pick teams.
Two captains.
Yeah, two
I
captains.
like the old format.
Yeah, I didn't think they needed to change it. It was just they went through a period of experimenting, didn't have the same success, so they went back to East-West. But they also did that because they wanted to make it a little bit more competitive. When the score is 211 to 186, that's not competitive. That is
a joke.
It's ridiculous.
It's just they're not messing around.
Just nobody playing. I mean, you go to that game to see the best athletes in the world compete against each other, and there's just no competing going on.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just see who can put the ball in the basket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Kobe said this before he passed away. I think it was in 2019. He was quoted as saying this, and this is when the NBA All-Star game had kind of gone downhill a little bit more, he had said this is really a pickup game with the best basketball players in the world, and that's how it should be played. And he said that, in the off season, you'll see videos of like Westbrook, Durant, LeBron, all those great superstars playing in pickup runs at like UCLA or whatever that one court is that Chris Brickley, he has.
But they're actually getting after it.
Yeah, they're playing, and he's like, no one's watching them, and they're playing harder than anything else. Why can't they do that for the All-Star break? Now I understand that the players' mindset is we're taking it easy. We're right in the middle of our season. Or we're coming towards the end of our season. We're trying to take it easy, rest, and we don't want to get hurt. But I understand the injury thing. You don't want to get hurt in the All-Star game.
In a meaningless game.
Yeah, but the thing is, they have until Thursday to rest. They won't play again until Thursday or Friday.
And my thing is that you should feel privileged and honored enough to be voted in as an All-Star. So now go show them why.
The All-Star game. And the NFL Pro Bowl was like this too. It's getting. I liked
it to flag football.
Yeah, it literally is flag football. But I did like the kickball. I do like or not kickball. Dodgeball.
Yeah, I do these little mini games.
Yeah,
I like them.
But you're pretty much like the NFL players that are football players that their job is their job is to hit somebody else or at least to make contact with somebody else. They don't. They just pull somebody's flag. I mean, we played flag football in intramural this year, which is fine because we're college students and we don't really want to get hurt because most of us are not athletes that have never played football before. So if we go tackle, it end up being it's going to be a spear tackle, our head into somebody's chest, and we're going to die. NFL players, that doesn't happen. So I understand they're not trying to get hurt, but it's the off season at that point. You have training that's harder than this game. You're going to get hurt in training more than likely. It happens. So why can't you play this game, put on a show, because these are the best football players in the world. It's not in the league, it's the world, because there's nobody else that has football like we do. Put on a show. I mean,
I think the best part of the weekend was the Steph versus Sabrina 3-point.
Yeah,
I was going to bring that up.
That was really cool. I like how there was no, I feel like that easily could have been like a lose-lose in a lot of situations, but it was so fun, and both of them had a great time. I mean, everybody loved it.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to watch because both of them, golly, they can both shoot.
Steph's the best shooter we've ever seen, and Sabrina Ionescu, she's one of the best WNBA players, and when she was at Oregon, she was kind of like the Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark because every couple years you have one women's basketball player that everybody watches. Yeah. Angel Reese would be that player if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark, but it was Ionescu. Paige Buchers would also be that player until she got hurt and also overshadowed by Clark. Mm-hmm. And then it's been like Breanna Stewart and when she was at UConn. And
there was a girl that played for Mississippi State when they won it all. I can't remember.
Oh, shoot. Yes.
She hit that game winner.
I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember her name.
There have been a lot of different players, but every year it seems like there's a new superstar in women's college basketball, and then they go to the WNBA, and they're great. And you don't get to hear about them very often because, frankly, it is the WNBA. It doesn't have the largest media coverage, but Ionescu, her performance, I think she had 26 threes in that game in that contest, and Steph had 29. And Sabrina, she probably would have won, but she missed, I think, both her money balls, which gives her like 4 points. I think
it's 2. I think if you make your money ball, you get an extra point.
Okay,
I think that's.
I couldn't remember. And then, but if you make your regular threes, it's just 1 point. And she missed all but one on like the right wing. And then both of her money balls, and she only loses to Steph by 3.
And another thing about that is she was actually almost like playing out of her league because she was shooting from the NBA 3-point line.
Yeah, the WNBA
which is farther than the WNBA.
Yeah, it's closer.
So really? I thought she was going to be shooting from like her own line.
No, they were shooting from the same line.
Yeah.
Now, she had her own ball. She had the women's ball.
Yeah, she was shooting with the girls' ball, but she was shooting from the same spot Steph was.
And she hit 26.
So it's like if it was a WNBA game, she's shooting from like a good distance behind the 3-point line.
I mean, Caitlin Clark has been hitting half-court shots at Iowa,
She's
and
gonna be a stud.
the all-time women's basketball leading scorer. That's incredible. But the other thing about the All-Star break, the dunk contest wasn't horrible. Mac McClung went back-to-back this year. It is weird when Mac McClung wins and he's not in the NBA. But I did like initially how Jaylen Brown decided, you know what, I'm a star. Most stars don't do the dunk contest, but I'm going to get in it. And then he proceeds to have, with the exception of the dunk where he was honoring Terrence Clark, who passed away, I think, in 2020, all his other dunks were just horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I saw him. He jumped over a guy sitting in a chair.
The streamer, Kaisen, I think is the dude's 5'4", and he's sitting down, and he jumps over him at the restricted area,
and he just caught a lob and flushed it. I was like, I've seen 18-year-olds do that at the local, in rec.
I feel like that's another part of the All-Star break that's going completely downhill because none of the stars want to do it.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a good dunk contest since
Ja Morant.
But since I think it was 2016, the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine finale.
That was awesome.
Oh man, I still go back and watch those highlights. There hasn't been a genuine dunk contest since that one.
I thought McClung saved it last year. I mean, he did for a moment. It gave us a little bit of hope, and he did really well this year. But the problem is, I think a lot of people have become conditioned to. We see those dunks and we're like, "That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
We're not blown away like we were in that Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk contest where everything that they did was new or just hard to imagine. And also you can hear it in the audience. If the audience is going nuts, we're going to go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in that audience was going nuts. And even Jacob Toppin, who was also in it, he had some really good dunks. He had something really hard that I can't even imagine myself doing on a mini hoop. And they gave him 46. It was just, and 3-point contest was great too. But and skills challenge is a joke. No one even talks about it. They, where you pass the ball into the little circle,
and then you gotta hit a 3-pointer.
Well, now it's half-court shot to
shot.
win, and it's just brick. But now the thing you pass into is bigger now, so it's probably the size of our window. You can't see, so it's probably a little bit bigger than this TV. Before it was just big enough to where the ball could fit through. It's basically
probably about the size of a room.
Yeah, it is. Where if you shoot basketball, the ball can fit, but it's really hard to get the ball to fit. And anyway, but that is going to do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 19 of the Roar Rundown Sports Podcast. Tune in next week where we talk about everything we talked about in the Tiger Prowl preview. If you didn't already understand by now, but anyway. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Chris. This is Zach and Weston. Have a good night and go Tigers.